I fell in love with this suicide picture, and that gave me a purpose. It's like these people were heroes to me, which might just give you the fucking shivers and creeps right now thinking about that. Yes, these two kids were heroes to me, and they killed 13 people and a teacher. I was so sucked into Columbine, I'm like, maybe I can do something like this.
These are Randy Stair words, also known as Andrew Blaze. This isn't just a case of someone's mind being poisoned by strange subcultures. It's about what caused a talented 24-year-old to have troubled, dark thoughts brewing in his mind. But let's talk about everything in order. Randy Stair was born on September 17, 1992 in Pennsylvania to parents Robert and Lauren Stair, along with his younger brother Jeremy. He was described as a very shy and introverted child, always preferring to be alone in the school. Randy often liked to watch Nickelodeon shows, drawing the characters he sees on TV. He used to make short home films using a VHS recorder that Jeremy didn't like. Randy didn't like his birth name, which is why he took the pseudonym Andrew Blaze. He didn't have a warm relationship with family. He had friends in high school, but he had never gotten any girlfriends or went on a date. Death was going after Randy everywhere. During college in 2013, Randy's friends Tom and Matthew had a fatal car accident which severely affected on Randy. As well, his grandfather passed away, and there was another incident where Randy got into a car accident himself, but he managed to survive. Jeremy also got into another car accident, which resulted in Jeremy and Randy sharing his mother's car and being unable to pay off the damage. Ever since then, he became interested with the concept of death, with his later videos centering on the idea. Randy reportedly had been bullied in his youth, but it wasn't the defining factor behind his actions. Randy didn't seem to deal with a great amount of bullying until he reached high school. It was here that he felt like an outcast, a guy that didn't fit into social norms and didn't have those friendship circles that we normally do. Feeling alone and depressed, he used the video sharing platform YouTube to express himself in comedic and expressive ways. One of his videos managed to get its way onto an episode Equals 3 by popular YouTuber Ray William, which was viewed by millions. Randy himself didn't gain massive success from YouTube, but he did have a small cult following from his later animations he devoted a lot of his free time to.
You're a ghost! Ghosts don't eat!
But I wanted to taste the chocolatey goodness of the babe!
It was on YouTube that Randy managed to feel happy thanks to the attention he sought after through his videos. He made friends, fans, and most importantly, he had to get away from the depressive world he saw around him. He was a man of contradictions. Stair opposed Christianity, but didn't consider himself to be an atheist. Instead, he believed in a goddess, if not Amber McLean, a Danny Phantom character that he worshipped herself. Randy would act feminine and do feminine things in a lot of ways. He would urinate sitting down, shave his legs and arms, wear bras and cross-dress. His heroes, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, were both males. Even more ironically, he hated gay people, yet he said that he was a woman trapped in a man's body. He kept a journal from the 2nd grade through the 5th grade. Stair would recontinue this practice from 2016 to 2017, containing disturbing signs about his character. In these entries, Stair expressed admiration of the killers of the Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. The contents of his journal even reflect those of Eric, the elder of the two, Columbine shooters. The first line of his first entry pays homage to Harris with the quote, "I hate the fucking world," a line from Harris' journal. Randy's revelations, however, weren't limited to his journal. Stair dedicated an animated video to the shooting, which depicts a school shooting similar to that of Columbine. Stair's usage of shotguns and propane tanks, along with 3 purchased natural selection t-shirts, also solidify an inspiration derived from the shooters. He recreated multiple of their shirts and had created videos displaying his firearms and plans to murder victims, similarly to the students' videotapes. Randy would also join forums dedicated to the Columbine shootings, often saying he could relate to them. These words would scare anybody who read this. We can only imagine what was going on in his head. His diary is something crazy. Someone of Reddit followers published Randy's diary in PDF. Randy was journaling his life and thoughts in the copybook, where he wrote 237 pages and drew some pictures. Of course, most of them were about Amber. In 2007, he started leading his YouTube channels, but they were shut down due to multiple copyright strikes. Eventually, he created the Pioneers Productions channel on June 9, 2008, at 15 years old. He originally created Let's Play and vlogs before eventually making sketch comedy videos. Many of his well-known sketches involve him and other characters getting involved in strange antics such as Froggy, Whale, and Mr. Horsehead. The videos were created by him and all of the characters were voiced by him. As was mentioned before, he loved to watch Nickelodeon and especially cartoon Danny Phantom. There he found the love of his life, Amber McLean. After becoming obsessed with the character Amber, he would end his Pioneers production channel to start a new one called Amber's Ghost Squad. Amber's Ghost Squad is a spin-off series based off a Danny Phantom, which involves Amber and her ghost friends going on different adventures recruiting teenagers in their squad. The series was created entirely by Randy except for collaborating with different voice actors. All of the characters were in the likeness of Amber. He had called her as his wife and thought the Ghost Squad characters were real. During that time, he struggled with gender dysphoria, thinking his soul was female.
I was put here in this body. I'm gonna have to live in this body until I die.
Randy thought if he were to die, he would be eradicated as a ghost girl and would join to the Amber's Ghost Squad. Randy created a self-insert character named Andrew Blaze, who was female. Although he didn't consider himself fully transgender, he had been opposed to go into therapy or a psychiatrist because he didn't think people would understand him. He also created 2 other YouTube channels called Pioneers Anthology and Worthless Toaster. Pioneers Anthology was mostly the same as the original channel, except it uploaded Let's Plays and his older videos, while Worthless Toaster uploaded high-quality music of Amber McLean.
All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, you better run, outrun my gun.
He would upload several videos onto YouTube talking about his psychology and hatred for humanity. On June 8, he uploaded the last episode of Amber's Ghost Squad, which shows Randy and the Ghost Squad characters shooting the Westboro High School. The video is unfinished as YouTubers he was partnered with didn't get the requirements done on the deadline and some quit due to the violent nature. As well, Randy created over 11 Twitter accounts, with 2 of them being personal and 9 of his EGA's characters. He was very obsessed with different roles he took. On YouTube, Andrew Blaze uploaded a video where he flipped a coin to decide his fate.
I'm gonna flip this 3 times, or the best out of 3 rather, and If it's heads, I'll do it here. If it's tails, supermarket. Tails. Which means there's going to be a loss of a human life besides my own. Possibly more than one. That's fate for you. I didn't cut the camera at all. I didn't cheat. It rolled the entire time. I didn't go out on different days and do this and say, oh, you could have cheated because he did this multiple times.
If it landed on heads, he would take only his own life at his house. If it was tails, he kills himself and other people at the supermarket. After flipping it 5 times, he got 3 tails. His last videos would show off his weapons and vlogs in which he described his plans and hatred for the world. He also made tweets hinting at the shooting and saying,
It's fate. It's destiny. I was originally just going to do it like just one big flip and whatever it was going to be it. First one was tails anyway. That's great. I mean, either way I could still change my mind about it, but I'm not going against the flip of the coin. I'm going to do it. I'm not tempting fate. I'm just going with it. Unreal. Unfucking real. That's fucking fate.
the day before the shooting, he would upload a video touring his supermarket where he films the aisles and exits. Randy had secretly sent emails to close friends talking about his plans and regrets he's made. Randy also had a part-time job working at the Way supermarket. In 2011, Randy graduated from Dallas High School and would attend County Community College for 3 years until 2015, majoring in mass communications. Although Randy said college and his job weren't his main priorities. On June 7, 2017, Randy drove to the Vice supermarket to work his night shift at 11 p.m. He would block off exit doors using wooden planks and upload multiple links to videos and journals under his Twitter account about his shooting and suicide. Randy would return to his car and retrieve 2 Mossberg 500 shotguns. At 1 a.m., he went back inside the building where he shot employees Viktoria, Brian, and Terry. Another co-worker, Christian, claimed that she was wearing headphones while she labeled products but heard shots and saw Stair shoot one of the victims and then turned and looked at her. But she said rather than shooting her, he walked away and went down to the next aisle. She had eventually managed to escape from the store and call 911. Then she heard more shots. We never will know why he left her alive if he hated people so much, but fortunately she had been saved. Stair was dead before police arrived at the supermarket, but he left behind online videos and writings in which he praised the 1999 Colombian high school shooters, among other things. Court documents indicate that a search of his home turned up 7 boxes of 12-gauge shotgun ammunition, shooting goggles, ear protectors, a shotgun buttstock, and an owner's manual. State police also took 2 notebooks, his drawings and cartoons, external hard drives, a flash drive, a computer, and a camera. Recordable discs labeled Goodbye, Interview, Spring 2015, and EG's Intro, as well as 5 unmarked discs. In a video message to his parents, he said he thought about death for years and never imagined he would live past his 20s. Looking into the camera, wearing a black beanie and black t-shirt, he talked about his obsession with a Nickelodeon cartoon character named Amber, and said that in 2013 he started cross-dressing, which is something you never knew I did. He said he would dress as a woman on Wednesday nights when his parents went bowling and secretly wanted a sex change operation. Stair expressed a similar sentiment in a journal entry dated Monday, adding that he was ready to die. An actress who voiced a cartoon character Stair created said he sent her an email less than an hour before the killing, thanking her for her work and telling her that by the time she read the email, he would be dead. A prosecutor called Stair's actions a mental health situation that utterly spiraled out of control. His family on Friday released a brief email statement expressing sorrow for his actions. The mass shooting didn't receive that much attention at first, with the exception of Pennsylvania expressing their grief towards the tragedy. Randy himself wasn't recognized too much years after the shooting. However, sometime in 2021, many YouTubers started to talk about him. The Ember's Ghost Squad wiki is still being edited to this day, and there are a small group of people who believe EGS is real. In the tapes released shortly before his death, which he dubbed the suicide tapes, Randy couldn't hide his deep-vented anger towards his father. He held some hatred towards his mother too, but most of his frustrations came from his dealings with his father, who he accused of berating Randy. Stories were told of Robert Stair constantly berating his son for not finding a full-time job and not meeting expectations his father wanted. Their relationship was strained, and it's obvious from these tapes that Randy's anger and self-loathing came from his father's supposed displeasure from him. This sort of makes sense as to why Randy chose not to express himself outside of his room. A quick Google search will show you Randy's room being plastered in My Little Pony, memorable and EGS artwork, all signs of Randy's interests. But outside of that room, in his daily routine, he was just another human trying but failing to fit into the mold his father sculptured. It's true that some moments in his life were unavoidable for him. His lack of a full-time employment is an issue for many struggling teenagers in America. The fact his online friends couldn't help him wasn't his own choice, obviously. But Randy has a tendency to pass blame onto others before himself. Randy once purposely drove for hours in order to avoid his mother on Mother's Day. He mentioned that he purposely avoided his family on festive holidays because he simply didn't want to. It's these instances that leave us questioning how far Randy actually went to work on these instances in his life. There were opportunities for him to make amends with some of the negative parts of his life, and yet he didn't attempt to at all. There is an opinion that Randy had signs of being on the autism spectrum, but this is not proven by doctors. It could be a reason why Randy perceives his father that way, because PDA is an autism profile that explains tendencies such as social interactions, behaviors, and interests. It's important to note that autistic tendencies aren't the same for each person on the autistic spectrum, as each person has a varied amount of tendencies. With Randy Stair, a lot of the traits listed match his personality and behavior that we can see from his tapes. Although we aren't exactly sure how demanding Robert was, this would explain why Randy felt such hatred towards his father when it came to his father's expectations. This part in Randy's life could have been a simple querying how his job search is going, and maybe suggesting certain choices for him. For Randy, this could have been seen as a demand from his father and thus fueling his anger towards him. Those with PDA usually end up lashing out and causing outbursts due to their anxiety reaching a certain degree. Another attribute of resisting the ordinary demands of life is that it is uncommon for those on the autism spectrum to withdraw onto fantasy. With Randy's obsession with Danny Phantom and other animated shows, this doesn't seem too far from the truth. Anyway, for the media, it's so easy to pass blame onto other subjects of interest like video games, subcultures, and a terrible upbringing, but it's cases like this that show how wrong they can be. Randy wasn't a victim to modern-day influences, nor was he a victim of the world around him. As much as he tried, Randy Stair simply couldn't control his life and pushed it away until he could no longer hide from it. He took no responsibility for his actions and ultimately took the lives of 3 other people in order to gain any sort of control. His selfish desire to live happily was the fault of no one but his own. Had Randy taken responsibility for his actions and realized that the world isn't always on your side, Viktoria, Brian, and Terry would be at home today with their families. Thankfully, Randy didn't achieve his final wish. Months of hard work creating characters and a story to accompany his selfish take on the world didn't achieve the infamy he craved. Instead, he will be remembered in that small Pennsylvania town as the boy who couldn't take responsibility for his own life and ultimately needed to take the lives of 3 innocent victims to get that final feeling of control. One may wonder why no one noticed his depressive state. Why couldn't anyone prevent it? Didn't anyone see that something was wrong with him? As he explains himself, he learned to lie in a way that no one could believe that he was capable of such a thing. But the truth is that his lifestyle, his cartoons, hobbies, and other things screamed that something was wrong with him and he needed help. Fans were concerned about violence in his cartoons that he wrote for EGS, but couldn't anyone from his entourage have prevented this tragedy? So, young agents, share your opinion in the comments. And please take care of people around you, pay attention to them, maybe someone needs help because it can save someone's life. And that's it for today, thanks for watching, bye.